Welcome to the Hoxworth Unfiltered podcast, brought to you by Hoxworth Blood Center at the University of Cincinnati. I'm Ashley Smith, and today we're talking with Jamie Glahn. Hello, Jamie.
Hello, Ashley. It's great to be with you today.
Yes. Welcome to our podcast.
Yeah, thanks.
Jamie is Hoxworth's manager of volunteer services, and volunteers play a vital role in helping Hoxworth fulfill its mission of saving lives close to home. And today we'll take a closer look at the impact that they make every single day. Jamie's going to share why volunteers are so important to our organization, the different ways that people can get involved, maybe that's you, and who can become a volunteer. We'll also discuss the many benefits of volunteering, from gaining new experiences and skills to building connections and making a meaningful difference in our community. So first of all, Jamie, tell us a little bit about your role at Hoxworth. You've been here for quite a while, and how I assume you haven't always been in this particular position.
Well, no, actually, Ashley, I started at Hoxworth in 2003.
Okay.
I was in the product management department, where you ship and deliver blood products through the different hospitals, through our different hospital partners across our service area. And a position came available in volunteer services in about 2006, and I moved into that position in about 2006. I was a program coordinator, and then it was about 2017, so almost 11 years later, I moved up to the manager position of volunteer services. So all told, I've been in volunteer management, volunteer services for about 20 years.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's been great. Our volunteers do a myriad of things for the organization, and it's just wonderful. The people I get to work with daily, I have one of the best jobs at Hoxworth. I really do, because we get to go to all the wonderful event-style blood drives. We get to go to, the Red Stadium, the Montgomery Inn events, all these different events, and we have volunteers involved in them, and it's just so wonderful. We have volunteers at all 7 of our neighborhood donor centers. We also have volunteers that drive for Hoxworth, which is a unique volunteer role that not a lot of not-for-profit organizations have in the city. So we get a lot of volunteers that do that volunteer driving, and what they do is they pick up blood products from our neighborhood donor centers and then bring them back to our Hoxworth Central location for processing. They also they also take products to our hospital partners.
Wow.
So it's really those drivers that take that product out really get to see where the rubber meets the road, pardon the pun.
Yeah.
But they really get to see where the products go and what they actually do and how they are actually used in our community, because they actually see the folks at the hospital and get to experience that and everything. So it's awesome to work with those folks.
Do you hear when somebody contacts you about volunteering that they have a personal connection to blood donation? I know we had Karen Pletikapic on this podcast recently, and she is a recipient and she's a volunteer. So do you find that that's common?
Quite often, yeah. A lot of times we get folks that were blood donors and can no longer donate, so they want to continue that mission, that thought of their contributing to the mission of helping to save lives. So they contact us, we get them involved with volunteering, and they still feel like they are continuing that mission of saving lives.
Yeah, that's great. We also have volunteers at all of our college drives. Here at UC, it's a requirement for, I believe, if they have a scholarship. So we at Hoxworth can provide that way for them to get those volunteer hours through donation and through volunteering, right?
Oh, yeah, sure. The Cincinnati Scholarship, I believe, is what you're referring to.
Okay.
And students have to do, I believe it's 30 hours of community service every semester, I believe, or something like that. And, Hoxworth allows we give 2 hours for every whole blood donation, 4 hours for every automated red cell donation, and 5 hours for every platelet donation. Wow. Plus, like you said, the students that help out at the blood drives get hours for helping out at the blood drive. So even though we're part of the University of Cincinnati. We're considered off campus. So
Okay.
the students get off campus hours. There's so many hours they have to get with on campus, off campus hours. And we're considered an off campus entity. So that's even a better benefit for them.
Wow. Okay. So who can be a volunteer? Do we have certain criteria that they have to meet?
Typically, yes. We ask that volunteers are at least 16 years old. Just because we ask that donors are 16 years old with parental consent, we ask that volunteers are at least 16 years old with parental consent. We want volunteers to be able, sometimes volunteers get into, adult situations where someone has a adverse reaction to blood donation, and we have to deal with certain circumstances that aren't very pleasant at times. So we don't want someone that's going to freak out or not be able to help the staff handle that situation. So we ask that they're at least 16. Now, we have had younger folks, and how I've worked around that, we've had volunteers as young as 12. But what happens there is their parent agrees to volunteer with them.
Okay.
So we do have an adult that is there with them to take care of any of those adult situations that would occur.
You mentioned some of the bigger events. I think it's also a benefit to these volunteers because they do get to be part of these events. They get to go to Great American Ballpark and TQL Stadium. And we just did the Flying Pig Marathon Expo recently, and they got to be part of that. And so they really kind of get a bird's eye view of some of these events, which is a benefit that maybe they wouldn't necessarily consider. You think donating your time, I guess, to a blood center, you're really just watching people donate blood, but it's so much more than that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't pull any punches. I don't hold anything back. I'm very transparent when it comes to this kind of stuff. And I want the volunteers to be involved in these things. I want them to be educated and knowledgeable and be able to educate and be transparent with other folks. So, I definitely want them to be involved from start to finish. Yeah. And that is something that is very, very, that's one of my standard rules of, volunteer coordination is I want you to be involved. This isn't like phone in, you're not going to phone it in. Yeah. You really have to be engaged, involved in part of it. And, the volunteers we have currently are really engaged in part of it. I mean, like you said, you've worked with several of them. I mean, and you've seen how engaged and how involved and how how they kind of take ownership at times. Yeah. And that's all welcomed.
Are you also a blood donor?
Yes, Ashley, when I go out to events, I want to be able to tell people honestly what it feels like to donate every different platform. So I've donated every different platform. I've donated whole blood. I've donated automated red cells. I've donated platelets and plasma. I've donated jumbo plasma.
Wow.
So, I've done all of it. And I think I'm an 8-gallon donor.
Okay.
So,
do you have a pin? Do you have your 8-gallon pin?
Somewhere.
You're supposed to put it. Oh, I don't even have mine on. Yeah.
Well, it's in a drawer. Somewhere. So, we used to have volunteers that would come in and send those out. Right. So mine were kind of special to me because the volunteers would sign off on mine. My little card. They would sign my little card with little notes, and some of them aren't with us anymore.
Oh, that is special. Wow.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, you've probably, in 20 plus years, you've seen a lot. You've probably seen generations of volunteers.
Yes, we've had, there was a family that would come in and do the gallon pins. And, the daughter and the daughter-in-law and the father and mother. And, it was generational. And we do see generations of volunteers and donors and folks come in, and it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I will say, we use volunteer donors because they're not paid. We give you a little thank you item, but a lot of times that's it. And so really, everybody that has even donated is a volunteer with Hoxworth in some form or fashion.
Right.
So this is just a different way to get involved, but you can do both. You could be a donor and you can volunteer your time. I know Sophia and I have talked to a lot of the volunteers out at the centers, like Paul, who plays the guitar, or why is it Dick Manukian,
Yeah.
who is a dedicated donor and also a dedicated volunteer. We were talking about in a meeting today about how people think that they can't donate blood. They think they would be deferred, and it turns out that's not true. They've had a certain type of cancer. They take a certain type of medicine, and those aren't things that can defer people. And I think it's interesting because a lot of times the volunteers will say, no, wait a minute, that's false, or that has changed. The FDA changes things a lot. So it is interesting that they are educated a lot of times in these types of changes and keeping up with the times.
Well, yeah, Ashley, as you mentioned before, it's part of their personal knowledge. Like some of them have gone through cancer treatments, or they've gone through this ailment or that ailment. So they know, I can donate now. So this person that has gone through this same thing can donate now too.
Yeah.
So it's something that, the education piece is really something that we promote and push. And I don't know how many times we've had volunteers that, and it's funny when you see it. No, you could donate.
Yes.
You could donate.
Oh, they can push sometimes. I mean, from a great place. It all comes from the heart because they want to help people. But I've seen some of them track people down. No. Most of the time, it's not a really heavy lift. It's a pretty fun thing that they really get to do. Occasionally, we might ask them to, like we had the tent at the Flying Pig, to carry things or something like that. But generally, it's a really low labor kind of volunteer thing. So I guess speak to exactly what they're going to be doing. What does a volunteer do at a center, at a drive, et cetera?
Okay, at a center, mostly what you're looking for, as we talked about a little bit earlier, you're mostly looking for that adverse reaction.
Yeah.
So anytime someone has an adverse reaction, especially in the cafe areas, our staff is concentrating on the donors in the chair. So they can't always see the donors in the cafe area that are recuperating.
Right.
So we really ask our volunteers to be the eyes and ears of the organization and watch those folks. And if they see someone that doesn't seem to be looking right or feeling right, then they report it to the staff, and then the staff can come over and take care of that person and make sure they are feeling well.
Right.
Other than that, they just bake cookies, give out snacks and drinks, and make sure to thank the donor for coming in and, have general conversations. We've got some great volunteers out there at our neighborhood donor centers. We've got some that play guitar.
Yeah.
We've got some that entertain and, tell jokes and, just pal around. And it's so funny. Sometimes I go out to the donor centers and just visit. And you'll come up and I'm waiting to talk to the volunteer, and they're just having this conversation with this person, with the donor. I thought it was, have you known them for a long time? Do you go to church with them, or have you? Oh no, they just come in every 2 weeks. They're a platelet donor. I've got to know them over time, and so it's something that they build relationships with donors over time, just like our staff do.
Yeah. The other thing is sometimes you have people come to the office and they do, office work. I don't want to dull it, but that can be part of it as well. I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, maybe you're squeamish about blood and you think, I can't volunteer there. There might be actually something that you can do, like bake cookies. You don't even have to look at the donors when you're baking the cookies, or perhaps, something in the office.
Yeah. I mean, something in the office, like you said, there's not, a lot of times we don't even deal with blood.
Right.
Like the volunteers don't even deal with blood.
Right.
Going out and doing some of the marketing events.
Yeah.
I mean, you're just talking to folks about possible blood donations or even volunteering. Hey, this is my volunteer activity. I'm out at the Florence Shaw's, talking to people trying to get them to donate.
Yeah.
Or I'm here at the the WEBN fireworks trying to get folks to sign up to donate.
Yeah.
These are a couple of volunteer activities that we've had, and they're really great, and they're a lot of fun.
I know it's not about the incentives. It's not about what people get out of it, but you do have the volunteer luncheon every year. We've been having it at Montgomery Inn, which shout out to Dean Gregory. We know he's a wonderful advocate for blood donation and a great partner. You can actually donate coming up soon at Montgomery Inn, so look that up. The original and the boathouse, by the way. And so that we do appreciate our volunteers, and we try to show them that appreciation through these different events.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like you said, we just had the Volunteer Appreciation Luncheon. It was back in April during Volunteer Appreciation Week. Dean Gregory, great.
Yeah.
Just can't say enough about Dean. He's just, he's so good to us. And the volunteers had, what did we have? We had
ribs.
Ribs and a whole, like,
chicken
quarter
breast.
chicken breast or something. It was, it was an amazing feast.
The cookies are amazing, too. I mean, our cookies are great, but Montgomery Inn cookies are amazing.
And then we had those brownies.
Oh, yes.
Giant brownies. But then... one of our volunteers, Glenn, spoke. He was he was a longtime donor, and then he had health issues, and then that's why he came to volunteer, because he was a longtime donor, believer in the mission, and then he kind of switched gears and started volunteering, and he's loved volunteering.
And he's usually at Tri-County.
Tri-County, yes. He's a Tri-County volunteer. So.
Yes.
And then Dr. O spoke, and it was a great event. Everyone had a great time, and, we try to have that every year. We also are looking at maybe doing like a volunteer mixer maybe in September, October, or something like that. Just, it gives the volunteers an opportunity to get together with like-minded people, people that are doing the same thing, and because often when we're together, we're focused on the donors.
Yeah.
We're focused on the mission at hand and what's going on currently. And we don't have time to chit-chat and, hang out and have fun. So, when we do get together and get those opportunities to chit-chat, hang out, and have fun, it is a lot of fun, because a lot of them do have some of the same similar stories to share.
Yeah. Okay, so give us your elevator pitch. Why should people volunteer with Hoxworth?
Oh, because it's such a great organization. Hoxworth is a lovely organization that has been saving lives in this community for since 1938. So, you can come in, be a part of that, and then continue on that legacy of Dr. Hoxworth and just... it doesn't cost you anything except your time.
Yeah. And, time is precious, but we also think saving lives close to home is precious. And so just donate a little bit of your time. What's the typical volunteer, I guess, what's average per week or month, or how's that?
Currently,
crunch the numbers.
Well, it really depends. We have some volunteers that just volunteer 4 hours a week.
Okay.
And then some that do 16, 20. It really depends. I mean, some folks that drive, they like to drive a lot, and they just drive and drive and drive. And some folks, I can help out here and I can help out there. And it just really depends. And it also depends on what we have going on. Like a lot of those special activities, a lot of the special events, folks will do multiple things.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. We've got volunteers that drive, that work at NDCs, and then also work the special events, and sometimes they'll do office tasks. So
yeah, sometimes I see them several times a week, just at various events. How can they, find out more about volunteering?
There is a spot on the website that if you go to the Hoxworth.org and about, there's a volunteering. So Hoxworth.org/about/volunteering. And that will get you to our volunteer page, and you'll see my lovely face on there.
Okay.
There's also a nice video that we had produced, and it's a lot of our volunteers. Those are real people. They're real volunteers talking about volunteering with Hoxworth, and you don't have to take my word for it. Take theirs.
I love that. Okay, so we will link that in the notes here so that you guys can follow that link. But again, just go to Hoxworth.org, and there's a volunteer tab there under About. Well, thank you, Jamie Glahn. This has been very fun. And hopefully we get more volunteers to come here at Hoxworth. Just give it a shot. Just give it a try. And, if you don't like it, maybe you try something else. But we feel pretty certain you're going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That is it for today's episode of Hoxworth Unfiltered. Thanks for spending a few minutes with us. If you learned something new today, share this episode with a friend, leave us a review, or hit that follow button so you never miss an update. And if you're interested in becoming a volunteer, again, you can go to hoxworth.org to learn more about available opportunities. Until next time, stay curious, save lives, and keep it unfiltered.